Okay. It's Monday, you guys. And we are going to pick back up with our Bob Ross needle felts. Hope everybody's having a good Monday. Or as good as it can be. It is Monday after all. So this is where we stand right now with everything. Sorry, there's a slight shadow from my microphone. I can't figure out where to sit it where that's not going to happen right now, so we're just going to kind of have to cope with that. Alright, so we're not doing too bad here, not too bad. We're going to be advancing the tutorial. For those that are new here, we are following along with the Joy of Painting Season 3. Sorry, I had a fuzz on my glasses, it seems. Season 3, Episode 8. And this is Night Light. The tutorial link to the original from Bob is in the chat. We're going to go ahead and pin that. And we are going to go ahead and advance this and see where we're at. I do have it muted, and it is, the closed captions are on. I don't know if you can read it, but that's why we've included the link. Okay, so he's gonna go ahead and make a green color. I'm kind of surprised it's a bit of a bright green. Considering the time of day. So he's just gonna kind of lay that in around the base of the lighthouse, going down the cliffs and around the buildings. So there's probably like hills blocking the pathway that we can't see to navigate and get around the buildings. Huh? Oh, okay, we're not there yet, Bob. We're not there. Did YouTube do something? Because they had it the other time, like a couple days ago, where you could advance by 10 seconds and go back by 10 seconds, and now I'm not seeing that. Like there was like a specific little thingy here on the screen. Alright. No, I'm not seeing it. Alright. Okay, if we could get this with Bob's hand out of the way, that would be like magical. Okay. So we have to come up with some green. And I know I've been using a fair bit of our Roving this time, but I kind of want to get it used up. And this is the way we're going to get it used up, is by actually using it, so. Don't know what these colors are. You'll have to find a green that's suitable. Yeah, I just need to see something real quick, because now I'm not sure. Here, let me see. So he's doing the water. Okay, he brings this piece out into here. Okay, so we're probably going to go to here. And we'll worry about this after the fact. Alright, that's what I wanted to see, mostly. So let's back that bus on up. Oh good, I found it. I was a little worried there. I wasn't going to find the same piece again. This is a little scruffy. The roving usually tends to be. Right. So I'm gonna try to see if we can twist some magic here. Don't know if we'll be able to, but I might have to come back in and just add some highlights on top of it. Alright, we do need our scissors. Okay. The one bad thing about working with a lot of dark colors and black is that it shows every little light piece of fuzz ever. Alright, so I'm gonna just kind of start to work this in. Excuse me. And we'll see what we can get to happen here. See if we can get anything magical to happen. I'm not sure how I feel about this going in. I almost want it to be a little bit darker, but we'll see. We'll see. How far down are we coming here? I guess we can really come down as far as we want to. It might be this lighter green that's kind of throwing me off in here, but this is a little bit more yellow. But we'll see how it goes. see what we can do with it. Not gonna look exactly the same as Bob's, and that's okay. It's gonna be more than okay. Okay, can't forget to lift up there. I almost did. That wouldn't have been too good. We would have really gotten quite attached to our pad here. That would have been troublesome. That's still holding up pretty well so far. So that's good. Okay. Do I want to do one more in there? Maybe. Maybe. So, you know, this, just take your time with it. And just kind of fuss it along to how you want it to be. So I'm going to try to get that worked in there. Along the edge of that. Okay, let's see what we can do. Like, he's got a fair amount of grass and stuff on there. I don't know how heavy I'm gonna do this. Kind of seeing what's gonna happen here. See how things go. I don't want to lose all of our cliff work here. That would be super sad. After all that we went through getting that in. So this one is definitely a little bit longer than the last project, but this one's a little bit more involved. And my sessions are shorter, so there's going to be more sessions per tutorial that we're working through, because I don't have the ability to go as long in the afternoon anymore. I do have to stop by a certain time now. So especially when working with the little bits of fluff, just want to make sure that we've got all of our little pieces all attached. Let's see, some of these don't come down all the way. At least I don't think they do. And I mean, it's your cliff, so they can really come down as far as you want them to. For sure. Okay, let's see. Maybe we can do another little bit right in there. Okay, how we looking? Still seems really bright on here with everything else being quite so dark. I'm not a huge fan of all the trouble that we went to, and now we're losing a lot of it, but that's Bob for you. Okay. I've got a bit more of this kind of hanging out in here. Like, I'm not sure if this really helps sit this into it. I guess it kind of does. The roving can be extra scraggly sometimes, depending on the type of roving you're using. So you might have to spend a little extra time fussing it. Okay. So I'm just gonna like re-tap in our roof here just to make sure that we're not making anything loose that shouldn't be. I'm going to make sure all of these are texturally attached. We're still in that first round of green mix that we put together here. It's because we're not using a whole lot in one go. We're getting a little bit of mileage out of it. We're gonna have to definitely do another strand. For sure. To at least get us to where we need to be. Okay. So let's work on getting the next bit in here. And they're gonna be different lengths and stuff, and I mixed them together so we could get more of a shade variation as we were coming in, so I didn't get too uniform or stripey. With the same colors repeating. You okay?
Uh-huh.
All right. Oh, it is a pretty eye day for sure. Feeling like I've got all kinds of grit just scraping my eyeball here. Oh, I hate that feeling. So it becomes one of those feelings that you're like constantly chasing all day. And then you end up popping a blood vessel because you're chasing it all day. Kind of situation. Okay. Alright, we're not doing too bad here. Kind of feel like we need maybe another little bit here. Come down towards the bottom. Get that worked into there. Sorry, I keep like trying to brush like bits of fuzz that don't belong off of there. Sorry, I did that and then I could see like loose fuzz and I'm like, no. Okay, so we're getting down to the end of this piece here. I think we might have enough to get this in here. In this section. All right. So hope everybody had a good weekend, and that your week is starting okay. Your week finished out okay too. Got about 5 live streams left to edit. Got through about an hour of live stream footage, and then I'm like, it's like 3 hours later, I'm like, oh god. So hopefully with the new editing style I'm wanting to try, the husband's going to be able to help me with, we can try to get those done a little bit faster, and I can get some more painting done because I'm not spending all my time editing. Okay. Now, this one I'm just gonna kind of fold up on itself. And this piece will probably be a little bit long. There are just a couple longer strands there that were going to be troublesome, so we're just going to snip those guys. Put them over in the discard section. Alright. So Bob's might come down a little bit further. His is a little more yellow. That's okay. Alright, and then need like a strand, small strand of this. Okay. Sorry, just getting another strand put together here. This guy all tapped into here. So we still have, excuse me, we still have to finish this up, and then we have to get in here with this water. So maybe one more session? I don't know. It depends on how far we get today. Means I definitely have to get those dowel rods dealt with this week. Oh, goodness. It's long extra strands in there. Sorry, allergy throat is real. Haven't had any meaningful rain. It rained in the county above us one night last week, but we missed out. No, we didn't. We had a couple of showers, but apparently there was a thunderstorm, but it never even looked like it rained outside. That's right, I forgot. There was a severe thunderstorm warning that I never woke up for. Apparently we got a phone call and I never heard the phone ring. I think I woke up shortly after the phone finished ringing because I heard it thunder, which is kind of bizarre because the phone was like right by my head. I must have just been so tired. That I just kind of crashed. Okay, I do have this turned on a little bit of an angle just to try to help me keep our angles here. Sometimes it's easier said than done here. Okay, so now let's work on getting our next bit in here. I don't know how much editing I'm going to get done tonight because I need to make the husband his cookies. I want cookies. I don't need cookies, but I want cookies. But I can't really do peanut butter anymore. It rips my stomach to shreds lately. I can have like a peanut butter cup or something here and there, but just to eat actual peanuts like I used to, or like a peanut butter and jelly, I will be paying for it dearly. Okay, I mean, I guess it's kind of pushing it back into the hill a little bit. I can kind of see it. How is everybody's day going? Okay. I'm gonna try to start with that one down here. Didn't realize these were separating a bit. Oh, we might have to do a third one to get this section finished. So yeah, we're looking at least, I think, one more session. At least. Alright, so get that put into there. Did you ever watch the food processor? Husband?
Huh?
Did you ever watch the food processor?
No. I will do so.
The hell?
Just Peabody.
Peabody. Okay. So gotta make sure that we get this upper section. Okay, so let's trim that. Okay. I need to get just a little bit going up here. This can be a little overgrown in the front. That's okay. That shouldn't be too much of a problem. Okay, now getting a little okay, go, just smooth the back out there. And that'll help even that back out. Been a little bit since we smoothed out the back. Okay, so trim that up. As best as we can here. Still feels kind of bright for me, but it's alright, we're rolling with it. Maybe the moon's highlighting it. Possible, I suppose. I am tapping in the area around where we're working again as well, just to make sure that we're not popping anything out of its place, because we're pulling the fibers in different directions. Make sure nobody's getting loosened more than I want them to be. There was a couple of loose fuzzes I was seeing with the way the light was hitting them there, so I just wanted to take care of them before I lost sight of them. 'Cause that would suck. Alright. So these two sections are gonna kinda merge about in here. Or at least that's what we're trying to get to happen. Okay. Now I know this section got a little wobbly, so we might lose a little bit of this when we go to trim up the sides. And that's okay. Not a huge problem. Okay. Alrighty. Not doing too bad here. We might need like one more half strand. To finish up like down into here, and then we'll deal with the rest of that when we get there. It might need to be a little bit taller. I'll have to see. Kind of the mindset of, well, we made it the height that we did, so we're just gonna stick with it, but at the same time, I don't know. I'll have to see. Like, he covered so much of his cliff work there. I'm not gonna go quite as heavy. We worked hard on this. Getting these shades in and stuff. I don't want to lose all of it. This into here. I will say the Roving has a coarser, this particular Roving. So I know some Roving is softer than others. This particular Roving gives it like a coarse fuzziness. Got this little tiny piece left in my fingers. So I'm just gonna kind of like try to loop it up. Because I really don't want to trim that tiny of a piece, then it gets to be a bit of a pain to work with. Okay, so I've got one little scraggly bit there. Okay. Excuse me. Got a little bit of green that mixed in there. That's okay. All right. I mean, it's not too bad. Just need a little tiny bit more. Even that's probably too much. Okay. Alright, just trying to get those flyaways reattached. I don't have any water today. Forgot to grab a new one for over here. Okay, so how far do we want to take our grasses? That's the next question. I don't know. How far do we want to take our grass? It's a very good question. Now Bob like covered his whole hill, but I also have to remember that we put in our other hill ahead of time. I have to remember I might lose a little bit of that section, so more than likely is going to happen. Okay. Alright, just making sure that we were looking okay on the back too. Like, I don't want to lose all this. Then it's kind of like, well, what was the point of putting it in if we're just gonna lose all of it, you know? I know Bob would say practice, but or something along those lines. Okay. Maybe we should have gone the full one. Maybe. Maybe. Alright, so we'll do another little bit of trim here. Hello, Doug. Yes, art. We do art on Sunday and Monday. How are you today? Okay, so these are finger, I think they're called finger cots. They're like kind of fake leathery things that protect your fingers so you don't stab them with the needle, because these needles for needle felting, they've got little notches cut into the sides of them, so it's probably about as sharp as a sewing needle, if not a little bit sharper, but the little barbs grab the fiber, but if it goes into your finger too far, it's gonna be hell getting it out, and you might have to go to the emergency room because you can't just push it through. Because there's like a little L bracket on the end of these needles that work as a handle or as the holder to go into the handles. So I have poked myself a couple of times. It has drawn blood, but it's only been like a pinprick. But these are to help prevent that, especially if you're working on figurines, where you're going to be holding the object in your fingers to stabilize it. Yeah, it hurts. It's an owie for sure. For sure. And It is still possible to stab yourself through these. Most of the time, though, it's like a glancing blow and you slide off the side of it, or you hit the resistance and your brain's like, stop. However, I have actually had this thing slip through the stitching on the seam. So just have to be careful. This is a sharp object we're dealing with, so definitely not for little kids. I'm alright. Another day. We are following along with Bob Ross's Joy of Painting tutorials, except instead of paint. For this season, we are doing needle felting. So I'm using a combination of acrylic yarn and wool roving. The acrylic yarn takes a little bit more prep time, but I can get a lot more colors in my budget. Roving's a little expensive for me. These are just like colors. I bought like a sample set of multiple colors from Amazon, so I got a bunch of colors, but they were small amounts, so it wasn't like enough to do multiple projects or anything in the size that we were doing. This piece of felt we have measured out for our work area is 8 by 10. No, it's a little bit hard to tell on the camera. It's a 9 by 12 piece of felt, and then we measured out an 8 by 10 work area. We've done the previous 7 tutorials from this season. Those are archived on the YouTube channel, on the Nisey Needle Felts playlist. Still working on the quote-unquote speed felt for the 7th episode that we followed. So how does it stay when you're stabbing it? So, does poking it make... So poking it, so the little notches, it's really... I don't know if we can see them. I don't know. So there's like little dark dots on that needle there on the side of it. Those are the little notches. So when you're stabbing through, the notches grab the fiber and it kind of shoves it through all of the layers of fiber and kind of weaves it together. And then this is what the back side looks like. So you're just kind of shoving all of the layers together and kind of weaving it together, so to speak. So forcing it all to stay. And we're doing the dry needle felting. There is a wet version that I think involves soap and water and a screen and scrubbing it. And that's a bit too much mess for me. And that would be really hard to live stream with my current setup. And for I think the wet needle felting, you definitely need to have just the roving. I don't think the acrylic yarn is going to work for that, but the dry needle felting, acrylic yarn you can use. But right now this is roving that I'm using. I'm trying to use up these colors so they're not just sitting around forever taking up space where I can. So we are working on the cliff portion. There should be a link to Bob Ross's tutorial for this episode pinned in the chat, if anybody wants to see the tutorial in full, because I have it paused a lot, and when it is running I have it muted. As soon as we get done with this part of the cliff, I think we might do one more row of grass right here, and then I think Bob has us jumping back onto the water. So is it easier than crochet? For me, yes. I have tried to do crochet, following a couple of tutorials. I get distracted real easy and I lose count of what I'm doing, and crochet just overwhelms me with with all of the double crochet, the single crochet, the reducing, the adding, it oh man. That and knitting, I can do like a basic crochet stitch. I'd have to look at a tutorial again to try to figure out the other ones. I did crochet a couple of squares, but then after I did that, I kind of stopped because I didn't have anything else I was crocheting, and I have forgotten since how to do that. I can do a knit, like the basic knit stitch, and I can do a purl stitch for knitting, but I was only ever taught like a basic square, like a scarf thing, and I don't think I'd be able to like bust out any of like the figurines and animals. Maybe if I really tried, maybe I could figure it out, but like this I can just I can work through it, and I can be listening to something, I can be watching something. I know some people that can like just crochet out like little animals and stuff in like 10 minutes, and it looks fabulous, and there's not a tension issue or a pulled stitch or anything anywhere, and they're like just throwing it in the pile, and I'm just like, what? This is much easier than crochet for me, or knitting. I tend to pull my yarn way too tight, or it's way too loose. I can't get that magic tension where it's just perfect. But we have painted before. There's an easy paints list on the YouTube channel. We have followed Bob Ross with oil painting. I was starting a series where I was gonna follow all of his stuff with gouache. But then we were talking about trying to do the farmer's market in spring, so I kind of had to put that project on hold. I haven't had too much time to paint lately. Husband's gonna try to help me with video editing of the speed felt stuff starting on this project. As soon as I'm done editing the previous one, because everything's on my portable hard drive and he's gonna need it. So hopefully we can get this one speed felt once we're done edited a bit faster. I've got some stuff for farmer's market, but I don't have a whole shit ton. Got some magnets that we painted here that didn't sell in the Etsy shop I'm gonna take, and I've got some mini canvases, and we've got some needle felted projects that we can try to sell. Watching the YouTube videos on the zoo building at work, and it's a good time passer. Yeah, we like to do the long form content. It used to be longer, right? So I used to do the art and the other live streams for like maybe 3.5, 4 hours, but ooh, come back here, needle. My hand likes to randomly drop stuff. It's always an adventure. But circumstances kind of changed, so now I end up after my dad passed away in February. Now I'm like cooking dinner for my mom and stuff, so I have a harder stop time in the afternoons, so. But we try to get done what we can. I'm hoping this week we'll be back to normal schedule, and we'll be doing the Solo Planet Zoo stream on Friday. Since he's redoing his challenge zoo, I don't need to do an extra live stream this week because I'm not as behind now as I thought I was. How many animal things did you redo this week? Just one?
Oh no, I got rid of all of them.
No, but you started to put a new one in.
I put 2 in. I put in the
so I'm still behind.
kangaroos
Oh,
and the emus.
so we're like even now. Okay.
Yeah.
I was like, he ripped everything out and restarted it again, and I'm still behind. No.
Well, that's okay, because keep in mind that I standardized my design for that section, which means I'm going to be building faster.
Yeah.
Watch your ass.
I know. Maybe I will have to do an extra stream this week. If I do,
yeah, but I might spend time decorating too.
Yeah, you don't decorate as much as I do. So sometimes I do animal generator in the challenge zoo against the husband. Sometimes I pick it. I've been picking my animals purposely in the desert section because I wanted to do the arid animals specifically that came out with that arid pack. Well, we're going to try to sell stuff at the market. It's going to be our first year doing farmers market next spring if we can get enough inventory together. And I think I can over winter. Probably going to be too icky to go out anywhere. I picked up some dot tools to try to do some mandala dots. I've got some canvases that we found when we were cleaning that I thought I had used all of them. So, and I've got some wood pieces, doing like some little hangy signs and stuff. Like I'm in the middle of, I'm caught. I'm in the middle of one piece. It looks a little beat up where it hasn't been painted yet. But I'm working on doing like a little folk arty sign to hang. And I've got a cross painted that I did like a pattern on, and I'm very busy right now, so I have to get Christmas presents started. I have to get the arrangement for my dad's birthday that's going up on his grave done within the next week or two. We got the stuff for the Christmas arrangement that we're going to put up on his grave the beginning of December, I think. We're going to do a Christmas tree instead of a grave blanket, which is a lot easier for me. We found like a tiny Christmas tree to put together that. Oh, we need to look for solar lights. We forgot. Because the store had all of their Christmas florals on sale, including the Christmas trees, for 50% off the last week. So I was like, hey, let's get this stuff now. It's 50 off. And I found 2 flamingo ornaments for my flamingo tree for in the house. So I was excited about that. There was only 2 flamingo ornaments. I was so upset. There was one with like a floofy, feathery body. That was fun. And then there was like a little flamingo floaty, like a float ring for a pool. It was like clay or something, but that's what it looked like. Yes, I have a flamingo tree. We've got a white Christmas tree because the cats destroyed our fiber optic tree. And it just looks sad. And we got a white fake Christmas tree, and I got pink LED lights for it, and I've got solid pink and glittery pink Christmas balls to put all on it, and I've got all different flamingo ornaments to put on there, and I got little tiny flamingo glittery figurines on it. We have a couple of our special ornaments too from over the years, from when we were kids, or just stuff that we've given each other over the years and stuff. Although one of mine went missing and we can't find it. We had initial ornaments. One was an R for Russell, and I had a D because my name is Denise. We just go by Nisey, and I can't find my D anywhere. It vanished. I don't know what happened to it. And we've got some wooden cutouts that I painted, and it's definitely a flamingo themed Christmas tree. This makes me think you like flamingos with all the flamingo stuff. Yeah, no, well, the channel's mascot used to be a sock puppet that I made. That went by the name of Pinky. We actually took her to, I love Key West. We got married there, just the two of us on the beach, and we finally got back there in 2018. I think it was like 11 years since we'd been able to get back there, and we took the sock puppet with us, and we were taking photos of the sock puppet, visiting different places like the aquarium and southernmost point, although that one had to be in the dark because the line was atrocious during the day and I wasn't standing there for 2 hours to get a picture with a sock puppet by the southernmost point. I was like, we can do this in the dark, I don't care. And then the husband had a matching sock puppet friend named Vladimir that was a vampire. So there's some pictures where the sun's out where there's just a little jar of dust with wiggle eyes on it, like sand, in the photos with her, because that was Vlad's daytime form. And I had the sock puppet out and on my arm, and we were walking down the street to go get the photo at the southernmost point. It was just easier to get her out ahead of time. So we were a few blocks away, and I guess some dude was coming out of a bar, and all of a sudden I heard him yell, "Oh my god, she's got a sock puppet on her arm, she's got a sock puppet." And I was like, oh my god, we're this excited about a sock puppet.
Being fair, it was in Key West.
Yeah, it was around Fantasy Fest, too. We stayed the week before. So some of the festivities were starting as our time there was dwindling down, but we hadn't been, like, I didn't want to be there for Fantasy Fest itself. That gets a little crazy. But it fit within our time frame of being able to go. People must have thought you were crazy walking around with a sock puppet. Well, I actually pulled it out at the aquarium. It's a very small aquarium. It's like the size of a closet. But they had a big ass grouper fish in there, and one of the people that worked there, she's like, "Oh my god, that's great. I had a friend that did something like this with a stuffed animal where they traveled around and they did like a little Instagram page for it." And I think I posted the pictures on Twitter some time ago. They might still be up on the Twitter somewhere. She goes, the grouper, they've done studies where they actually watch them and they seem to interact with stuff outside of their environment, like through the glass, and they're like, you should, put it on and then like go up and look at it and see if it acknowledges that it's there and like move it around, see if it's going to follow it. And it did. It was very interested in the sock puppet. So that was kind of cool. That was kind of fun, and all the little silly photo ops we were taking pictures with the sock puppet. There was a couple of like, poke your heads through this cutout or that cutout, or there was like a sponge, like a man made out of sponges at the sponge market, and so we were taking a picture with that. And I think there was a picture or like a shark statue or something next to the aquarium, or a shark mouth or something, and we had her head like right there, like the shark was gonna eat her. Oh yes, the butterfly place is amazing. I love that. We were trying to talk my mom into going with us one time if we get the money to go, and to go again. And she goes, "But they're bugs." I'm like, "But they're butterflies. And they're flying all around you, and it is great." And she's like, "But they're bugs." And I'm like, "But they're butterflies. They don't hurt you. I promise. They don't buzz. They probably won't even land on you. Some people they land on, some people they don't. I've never had one land on me." But I was like, "It's amazing. It's slow paced. You can walk through there. It's lovely." And she's like, "Oh, bugs." And I'm like, No. It's butterflies. It's great." I'm petrified of bugs, okay? Like, even crickets, I'm like, oh god. I was traumatized as a child going down to my grandmother's basement, walking down these cement steps, and like the crickets would be like on the edge and they would like jump at my face. And I'm like, I can't handle the crickets and the jumping. But I mean, the butterflies are fine. They're not gonna sting. They're not gonna buzz in my face. I can handle the butterflies. Those are fine. Yeah, and they've got some birds in there. Those are great. They've got their own set of flamingos walking around in there. What the hell was it? It was Rhett and Scarlet. They named them after the Gone with the Wind characters. I don't know if those are still the same two flamingos, but or if they have replaced them and just gave them the same names. I don't know. But and they've got their own webcam that you can watch that. It's on YouTube. It's a different company, I think, that has it up. I'm not sure if you can get to it through their website, but I've seen it on YouTube. I'm trying to remember who's got it. Florida Keys something? Hang on. Let me see if I can find it real quick. If it's gonna load here. I have it saved somewhere. Florida Keys webcams, I think. Let me double check here. Ernest Hemingway House. We went there. Hemingway House. Is it a different there? Yeah, it is. Florida Keys webcams. They've got the what time is it? It's quiet in there right now. I don't see anybody in there. Paste. So that's the Butterfly Conservatory webcam. I love that place. Oh, and they do have flamingo merch too. I got this pair of tweezers from there. Little flamingo guy. I love it. And we got some preserved butterflies that were like pinned in acrylic. And we had gotten a couple of like butterfly metal art decor things to hang up on the wall. We had them both hung up, but then the cat knocked one of them off. Yeah, 3:29. I forget what time they closed. They might have done last. We've already had last walkthrough for the day. I do know when we were there, there was like a couple people from Russia in there that were like doing model photography, trying to do these like artsy photos, because there's this huge ass moth on this wall that they were trying to take photos with, but they were blocking everybody walking through. And the people that worked there were getting kind of annoyed with them, and they're like, you can't block the pathway, but they were doing it anyway. And they had like the silver like the silver light reflector trying to get the lighting right. I'm like, can we walk through here now, you guys? Because it's like you're blocking the exit. Hey Zorts, what's happening? No, we really want to get back there again. Trying to figure out where to stay though has been a struggle, because the place that we stayed the last time we were there is booked. Every time I look is booked solid. Like I can't get a week's stay there. It's a vacation rental, so they do, a lot of people are there for like 2 days, 3 days, and so trying to get a week open has been bloody murder. But it was great location, and I don't want to move properties in the middle of a stay. That's annoying. But it was right a half block off Duval Street. It was called Rose Lane Villas, and Hard Rock Cafe was at the end of the street right on Duval, and oh, it was great. It was like a block or two up from Sloppy Joe's. We don't drink though, so that didn't matter, but being that close was fantastic. Should have photobombed them with a sock puppet. I didn't have that one. I didn't have the sock puppet with me that day. we only brought her along at certain times because I had a box that I kept her in so she didn't get too disheveled. Oh no. Oh no. How do you not have a spare? I would have thought, with coffee being so important to you, I would have thought that you would have had like 1 or 2 spare coffee makers in a closet somewhere. So I know Zort's from WoW Challenges, when we were both playing WoW, and we were running a few different teams together. We've both since moved on from World of Warcraft. Now he's doing some RPG things, some wrestling things, some Fortnite-y things. All of the things when he has the chance. You stayed there on that area? Oh yeah, I loved Rosaline Villas. It was nice. I was sad that they didn't have a hot tub, but they did have a pool. We went to the pool a couple of times. We had the dogs with us, so we were limited on what we could do. The dogs and the mother-in-law were with us because she was paying for the trip, and I'm like, well, I'm not going to tell you you can't go since you're paying. And somebody had to stay with the dogs at the vacation rental because our dogs are assholes and they have separation anxiety, so if they're alone for even a few moments, they're like howling their heads off. And if they were too much of a problem, we could get asked to leave. So it's like, yeah, somebody stay there with them. We did take them with us when we could, but they were little guys, and I didn't have a pet stroller, which I would totally get if we did that again. Because it was a lot of walking for them, and Momo has hurt his back since then too, so that would be a lot for him. But you know, I loved that. I was just mad that there wasn't a hot tub, but that was okay. The location was fabulous. When we got married, we stayed at Douglas House. It's changed a lot since we got married there. They don't have their hot tub anymore, and I can't get a booking in there either. Every time I check, it's full. I like staying downtown, and I like staying at a place that has parking. I don't think Douglas House had parking, or it was first come, first serve, but we flew in that time. Last time we drove, so we needed somewhere to park. And Rosaline Villas, and oh, what the fuck was their sister property? They have a bed and breakfast in the vacation rental. What was the other one? This is not sponsored in any way, shape, or form. What was the other property? Rosaline Villas. And Rosaline Villas was great. They had their own little parking off the side alley that they were in. They had a little paper that you put on your windshield so they knew that you were supposed to be there. It was great. I wasn't thrilled with the property that was across the street, though. I guess it was a personal house, maybe. That had like a rolling fence across their driveway. They had little dogs, and they never checked to make sure the driveway fence was closed, and they were letting the dogs out. And then there was Old Town Manor is the sister property, and the little dogs were like out in the street, and they charged our guys the one day when we were coming back from going for a potty walk, and they were like viciously barking. I was like, oh, we better not have a problem here. So that was kind of distressing, but so we had to keep an eye out for them. But the dogs loved sitting on the front porch. There was a little bench that had a pad on it. They loved sitting there just watching the lizards scurry around, and oh, it was great. It was great. I loved it. We took them to sunset celebration every night. It's fantastic. Every time we tried to go to the mall, though, it seemed to be closed because there was a couple stores in there I wanted to go through. Either that front door was closed, or the sign was up mistakenly or something, or they were doing renovations. That was annoying. Where are we at? Okay, we're going to advance the tutorial again. But, no, I loved it there. I don't know where we're going to stay the next time we try to go, because parking there is expensive. Okay, so we're doing some slashy doos around our rocks here. Putting in some wave line, some foamy crashy thingies. Oh, is that how he did that? Huh. Interesting. That one might be a little tricky. Because a lot of the bed and breakfasts down there don't have parking. There is the public parking garage, but then you have to walk back to your hotel or cab back to the hotel if you stay downtown. I think Old Town Manor had their own parking lot too, but the Old Town Manor, the actual bed and breakfast part of the sister property, that one didn't have a pool. Okay, so it's only one more wave that we're putting in. What are you doing, Bob? If we stay on the new side of the island, then we have to pay to park every time we go downtown. Because he doesn't want to wait for a shuttle, and the shuttles, you know, from the hotel, they can be a bit of a pain in the ass. Okay, so that's... Oh, that's beach there. Oh, did we done fuck up? We might have. I thought I saw a hill here, though. Okay. So that's gonna feed back into there. No, he's getting... Okay, so it's like right on the edge of it. Okay. I want to see him put the foliage in on this so I can see where the edge of it is. So he kind of came into there and cut that off a little. That's fine. So it's technically only one more wave coming in. What are you doing, Bob? Okay, so he's gonna come back in with some more grassy dews. And this one's a lot heavier in the grassy dew business. Now what are you doing? Really? He had to put a chimney in? Oh god, he's still got all this time left. What are you doing? Okay, so he is gonna sign it. Okay. Can we get a head-on shot so I can see where we're at with this? He signs it so high. I guess because the other side was black, he didn't really have anywhere else to go with it. I mean, I kind of want to stay at Doubletree, because we loved the Doubletree property in Orlando. On our way home from our Key West trip, we went to SeaWorld because we got a good deal on tickets that were half off. Alright, I need to get a better look at this wave thing here. So let's back on up. Alright, so I'm gonna remove that. Okay. Can we get a better... They had something against doing head-on shots this time around, this season. I haven't noticed it that much in the other seasons. Maybe it's just because I wasn't trying to paint the other seasons. But for some reason, in this season, they just had something against it. At least that's what it felt like. Okay. Let's shove you over there. I'm not quite done with you yet. Okay, whites. We need our whites. Where is my whites? There's my white. I've got all kinds of fluff hanging around me here. Okay. Back to the acrylic yarn. But we left DoubleTree at SeaWorld in Orlando. That was a fabulous property. Huge. Fire pits everywhere. It was great. Loved it. We were only there like 2 nights, but it was great. There's a Marriott that has a fantastic looking pool. So we can have like a down day of not doing anything in particular. But then, you know, we have to pay like... The one time we were there, we saw parking lots like at $50, and there must have been an event going on. But I really want to do Key West at Christmas time, like between, like not like Christmas Day itself. That would be like sacrificing firstborn children and all of that for the cost. Need a smaller piece here. But like somewhere between like Thanksgiving and Christmas, I think that would be fantastic because everything's got the Christmas lights on it from photos I've seen, and I've seen they do Christmas light tours. Oh, I would love that. That would be fantastic. That's a bucket list adventure for me. That would be great. Don't know if that's ever going to happen, but that would be fantastic. I actually got this guy when we were down there. One of the art galleries, it was an odd art gallery. They had a bunch of little handmade glass figurines on a table, and I picked up the snail because it amused me greatly because oh hey, there's glitter in the shell. I didn't realize that. I had a D&D character for a brief period of time that we were playing with some coworkers that had a snail mount, and she was a chef, and she started making beer using the sludge that the snail was leaving behind, and like this one group of people absolutely fell in love with it, so the snail became a running joke. And I saw the snail and I was like, oh, that is hilarious. So, where are we at? We might be going to the zoo. We're going to try to go to the zoo. Next month. I hope they've got the... Oh, no, that's not quite in the right spot. I hope they've got the flamingo habitat fixed. Oh, well, we just kind of covered that up, didn't we? Oh, my nose is itchy. All this fuzz. I've got a fan on, so it's kind of blowing it around. Oh my goodness. So I've gotten some good pictures. The last time I was pushing my mom around in her wheelchair because it was a lot of walking for her. And so Russell was taking all of the pictures. Except he had adjusted some of the settings on the camera and wasn't checking the photos afterwards and didn't realize that 2/3 of them were blown out and overexposed and we didn't get any decent photos. It's like, damn it. He goes, yeah, I know. I was like, that's sad because we had some really good shots in there. Or what we thought were going to be really good shots. So, that was sad, but we're planning on taking, weather permitting, my mom to the zoo on my dad's birthday, so she's not sitting around the house. We had asked her, because I was like, well, we're going to do it for your birthday, but we didn't know if you wanted to go on your birthday or on his birthday, because their birthdays are a few days apart. And she's like, I'd rather go on his birthday, so it's like, okay, that's fine. That is okay, so we'll be going to the Tulsa Zoo in a couple of weeks, because sadly, Tulsa's the closest zoo to us. We have to hop state lines to go to the zoo. Fucking ridiculous. There is a zoo in Arkansas, which is where we're currently at. I'm originally from New Jersey. Russell's originally from New Hampshire. The East Coast kids living in the middle of the country now has been quite a rough adventure. I miss the boardwalk. I miss the ocean. I don't like being landlocked at all. Hate it. I miss the pizza. Pizza here's bullshit. It's bullshit. You can't compare to East Coast, New Jersey, New York area pizza. You just can't. I'm sorry. It hits different. What they call pizza here should be put before firing squad because it's not pizza. Like, what is this monstrosity? What? No. No. It's horrible. Hey, Mathis. How are you? Have you ever seen baby flamingos before? Cute. They are cute. I've never seen them until you went to Jacksonville. So, no, I haven't seen baby flamingos. Oh, Jacksonville Zoo. Oh, man. We've got a bucket list of zoos and aquariums that we want to go check out. And I know that sounds so silly, but we do. You know, we're not big party people. We don't really drink and stuff. But, like, we want to go to the Atlanta Zoo. We want to go to the Atlanta Aquarium. I want to go to the Clearwater Aquarium down in Florida. I want to go to Zoo Tampa that was on TV for that one set of shows. I didn't realize that they were on TV until I was like, oh, wait, that's that zoo. And my mom had talked about wanting to go see my brother that lives in the Tampa area. Well, half-brother. I don't know if we're going to end up getting that trip in. That kind of depends on what happens in November. With court. Oh, that's becoming a nerve-wracking thing. No, I haven't been to the Jacksonville Zoo. That sounds like we might have to add that to our list. I'll have to look into that. I've been told that the Springfield Zoo is pretty good in Missouri. St. Louis Zoo, I've been told, is really good. That's a bit of a drive for us, though. Springfield's about the same distance as Tulsa from us. But it's a lot more mountainy, I think, to get there from where we are. And sometimes the mountain driving kind of fucks with Russell a little bit and gives him a hard time. So, I don't know if we'll make it to the Springfield one. But, like, St. Louis, that would have to be a weekend trip, or weekend. It would have to be, like, an overnight trip at least, if not 2 nights. We want to go to the one in Nebraska. Is it Nebraska or is it Kansas? It's like a huge zoo. I think it's Nebraska. The Omaha whatever thingy. They've got like an aquarium in the zoo. Like, I'm just like, oh, I want to go. They supposedly have like a really big aviary and stuff. Definitely want to go check that out. That would definitely be a couple-day trip because we have to drive up to Nebraska. There is a zoo here in Arkansas, but it's in Little Rock. And that's like a 3.5, 4 hour drive. So it's actually closer for us to go to Tulsa than it is for us to go to Little Rock. Which is ridiculous, but that is what it is. No, Columbus, Ohio? No, I haven't. I have so many zoos to research now to put on our list. We've been trying to look at places that have zoo and aquarium to eventually add that to our thing. He wants to go back to New Hampshire to see some stuff. We were going to go back to his hometown, but then he found out that like half the stuff that he wanted to go check out that he hasn't seen since they left New Hampshire is gone. So either it was family run and the family's not running it anymore, or they closed due to the economy, or whatever reasons they're just not there anymore. So I'm kind of bummed about that. But we still want to go up there because he wants to check out the campground that he used to go to all the time. And he wanted to take me up there. And then there's a beach town up there that we were going to check out. And there was talk of taking the train down from... What town was it?
I don't remember exactly which town we were going to take the train from.
But it was somewhere up there on the coast, right?
Yeah. I mean, everything's kind of up at the coast at that point, but...
We were going to take the train down from New Hampshire to Boston, maybe, and check out the Boston Aquarium.
Which I think you would enjoy immensely.
Jack Hanna's Zoo? Oh, okay. Interesting. No, we'll have to add that to the list because we might be driving through there when we go up to New Hampshire, if we're able to. There was talk of maybe possibly putting Ohio on our short list to move to. I'd really rather go back to New Jersey because I knew I could get around that area on my own if I had to, because I don't drive. Like, crippling anxiety attack, meltdown, shaking, can't handle this. I've got bad depth perception on top of it, and we've tried a couple of times. I tried, and I don't know how I made it through my driving test. To be perfectly honest, I think they pity passed me because I was actually there to reschedule it because my driving test was supposed to be the day of my grandmother's funeral, and they're like, let's just do it now, and I'm like, I'm not ready. And I think they just pity passed me, but petrified to drive. And he does better when he's driving and not a passenger, so it works out. Because he's terrible when his mom's driving, although his mom's a scary driver to begin with. But if we go back up to New Hampshire for a visit, we might go through upstate New York to get there, just so we don't have to deal with New York City traffic and North Jersey traffic, because there is a roundabout way of getting there. That the scenery would probably look pretty in. hey, it passes by. Yeah, you know, I mean, I was like, I really don't want to deal with that. He goes, why? I said, no, I don't want to sit in traffic for hours and deal with New York City traffic if we don't fucking have to. But if we're going to be passing through that area, maybe we'll time it so that we'd be spending the night there and then maybe hit the zoo for a little bit or stay an extra day in that area. But I think at the moment Ohio might be on our short list of potential places to wind up in. There's a couple other places that we're thinking about. We have to do more research on the areas and stuff in local and state laws and insurance and all that. What flies there for car insurance, what things have to be done and all that happy shit. Alright, so we need some watery things. It looks kind of like our denim-y color here. But there is some very little dark. I'm gonna grab the dark, I think. We don't need this much dark. We really don't. You love Ohio? We drove through Ohio briefly when we moved down here. We had like an old school TomTom when we drove down here. The kind that you had to like plug into your modem to update the maps on it. Like really old. And we didn't realize that apparently they were doing construction through one of the towns. And where was it? It was somewhere. I don't think it was Cincinnati. There was a town that we had to drive through, and our stupid direction thingy kept telling us to take this one road, but the one road was completely shut down. There was no way, there was no on-ramps to get on it, and we're like, huh? We were so upset, because it was our first, like, road trip with the two of us, and we had a U-Haul, and we were like, what the fuck? And we eventually just decided to just keep driving straight until the stupid GPS thingy decided to give us a different way. But that was more the GPS thingy's fault than Ohio's fault. We've not had good luck in Ohio. The husband got trapped there on a flight. Where was it? Was that Cincinnati Airport? It might have been Cincinnati Airport. One Christmas he was coming to see me. I think I paid for his ticket as a Christmas present for both of us. He had actually, we set the flight to be for him to arrive like a couple of days before Christmas Eve, so he was here. Apparently there was a big snowstorm that fucked over the airport. And he got stuck in the Cincinnati airport for 3 days. He ran out of money. His mom had to keep Western unioning him money. He was kind of trapped there. I don't think he knew to bug the counter about compensation or whatnot, or maybe it wasn't a thing, or maybe we're just not educated enough, but he was like staying in the airport because he had no way to leave the airport or get back quickly if they suddenly decided to start flying out again. And they had tried to leave a couple of times, but then the runways were too icy, and he's like, if I don't get out on this next flight, he's like, I'm just gonna try to go home. And I'm like, no, don't. And we were both upset, and Christmas Eve at like 9 o'clock at night, he called me. He goes, look, they're gonna try to get a flight crew together. There's a plane here. They said that they can fly, but they need a crew. And apparently a crew volunteered at the last minute. And I think he arrived at our airport at like midnight, 1 a.m. He's like, I'm never flying again. It's like, I don't blame you. But you kind of have to fly to go home unless you just stay. Unless you take the bus home, but that's quite a bus ride back to Arkansas. Because at that point he was living in Arkansas. He wasn't in New Hampshire anymore. So that was for a couple of hours. No, he was stuck for 3 fucking days. It was a bad snowstorm. And then they didn't have crew by the time they got the runways sorted, and it was awful. Absolutely awful. But, I mean, that's not really, again, not really Ohio's fault. But no, we've been looking at a couple of places in that area. But I don't really know, like, the crime rates in certain areas or anything. Like I said, I really want to go back to New Jersey. But it's so expensive. We can't go to New Hampshire because we can't afford New Hampshire. I was looking at some places, like, I was like, oh my god. Because I was on Realtor.com the other night, just dicking around, randomly looking in different areas, seeing what prices were going for. And I said, holy shit, the houses in your town are fucking expensive. And he goes, yeah. And I was like, the cheapest house for sale right now is like $300 and some thousand, and it's no, it wasn't. It was $145,000, and it was like a 2-bedroom, 1-bedroom mobile home. I can't remember the bedrooms. And I was like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. That's a lot of money for not a new mobile home. And I think like the next thing, there was like an empty lot for like $220,000 that was wooded and still had to be cleared. I was like, oh my god. He goes, yeah. And then I was like, wait, where did you used to live? And he told me, and I looked up his address, and I was like, that house is that much in taxes? And he goes, how much was it? And I was telling him what it was saying, what the taxes were for 2020. And he's like, ugh. And I'm like, yeah. I was like, I don't fucking think so. That's like what we survive on in like 3 months, 4 months. That's no. That's not possible. I think property taxes up in Jersey, depending on the area and the house, you know, we're running about $1,200. That's still pretty gross. Taxes are, yeah. Our taxes here where we're at right now, I mean, the house isn't in great shape. The house was built in, I've seen 2 different dates for when this property was built. I've seen a 1921 date and I've seen a 1926 date. I'm not sure which one's correct. It's definitely been added onto since that original build date because of the way the house is structured. You can kind of tell. I think it was long before insulation. Some of the windows, I don't think they're original, but they're definitely old. Oh, maybe they are original because some of them have the rope in the sashes for the window going up and down, and like the little circle pulley thingy. Those windows scare me because I go to open it and it goes flying up and I'm like, oh shit. It's like too hard. Damn it. But our property taxes here, and they do taxes differently here. They like do a personal property tax, and then they do like a property tax. So there's like the property tax for the land that you live on, and then there's like a personal item tax, or something that like your cars are roped into and stuff. But it's kind of like roped all into one fee. So our taxes here, at least for this last year, I think they were under $500 for the year. But we also kind of live in not the sticks. It's not rural, but it used to be a farm community. There's a few farms left, but a lot of the farmland the farmers are selling because the real estate went crazy here. As soon as something comes on the market, it's gone. Like, it's up on the websites as pending already before, like the second it's up, it's pending. And I'm just like, Jesus Christ. Like, I think his mom paid like $43,000 for this house. And that was several years ago now, but you can't find anything that price in this town anymore. Everybody wanted to live here because they loved the small town feel, and I'm like, you understand. It's not gonna feel like a small town if y'all move here, right? Like, you get that, right? There's been so many new... Yes. We have a way of passing time here. There's been so many new subdivisions that have come in since we've been here. It's crazy. Like, I don't think there's anything that you can get in this town now that's below 100,000. With the way that the real estate market is here right now. But we're not in a position to move, so we can't take advantage of the excessive overpricing for the area. We won't be in a position to move for a while. So Zorts, have you like ordered a new coffee maker yet? If you're still here, you might not. You might have left.
Wait, he didn't have coffee for a while?
His coffee maker died when he got up.
My God, he didn't explode?
I don't know. I think I don't know. He might be starting to take a fit. I'm not sure if he's even still here. He might have had to go get coffee. He's still in chat, but I don't know if he's actually here. Oh, you're here? I know how vital coffee can be to some people. I don't drink it, but that doesn't mean I don't understand. So did you order a new coffee pot yet? Are you gonna have to leave early to get some on the way to work? I'm seriously asking. Or do you not work today? I don't know your work schedule. I barely know what day it is. I lose track of time so much that my time passage during the week is marked by what's supposed to happen on what day. Like, I knew today was Monday because I had a stream, and that trash had to go out to the curb last night. That's how I knew it was Sunday night. Trash had to go to the curb. I was fucked up last week because they didn't do trash because of the holiday on Sunday night for Monday morning, so then I had to go out Tuesday, and so my week was all fucked up. I'm still adjusting to the fact that they changed our recycling day, and that was like months and months and months ago. That really fucked me up. That might have been a year ago, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. Got so used to, okay, recycling has to go to the curb on Wednesday night. I know it's Wednesday because recycling has to go up tonight. And then they changed our pickup day to Wednesday from Thursday. And I'm like, why? Why would you do this? Motherfuckers. They got coffee at work? Okay. But what are you gonna do about tomorrow? Like, you gotta do something about this on the way home. Does your grocery store sell coffee makers? Was it like a Keurig? Or was it like an old school coffee pot? Like with the filter the filter paper in the basket. And you need to start a new coffee pot fund. You need to get a second coffee pot. Like, you need to have 2. You need to keep 1 in storage at all times. Because I know how vital coffee is to you. And I'm not joking. I'm being serious. I really am surprised you didn't have an extra. I'm the type of person that would have an extra if it was that vital to me. I tried to have an extra pillow. My neck is so fucked up that when I find a pillow that works, I like try to buy 2 or 3 of them just to hold on to them. Because I had a pillow that was decent for my neck. It was working. It wasn't giving me excruciating headaches and stuff and instant migraines when I used it. And I waited until the pillow was kind of starting to lose its integrity and tried to find another one to order it. They discontinued my pillow. They didn't make it anymore. And I'm so fucking heartbroken. The pillow was heavy. It was like almost 10 no, it was like 5 pounds. It was heavy. But it had like a gel core and it had 2 different density sides. I loved that thing. We still have it technically, but it's starting to disintegrate so that when you pick it up, like if you try to grab it from like the middle of the pillow and try to grab the foam's like ripping. It was heavy. It was very heavy. It might not have been a literal 5 pounds, but it was not like a normal weighted pillow. It was much heavier. Like, if you couldn't hit somebody with that in a pillow fight, like, you'd hurt them. It definitely had some weight to it. Like, my neck's so fucked up, I have to take my pillows from home whenever we go anywhere. I can't trust hotel pillows to not give me a migraine. So I tried to hunt for a new pillow for a few months. So many pillows got bought, and I was so hopeful for so many of them, and so many pillows got returned. Or became a dog pillow because we didn't return it in time. Oh, me and pillows, it's fucking horrible. I even had a water pillow at one point, trying to see if that would help. The sound of the water moving inside drove me crazy. And it wasn't quite what I needed it to be. And then I was back on the shitty pillow that was falling apart because nothing was comparing to it, and I searched and searched and searched. I looked multiple times. Every time I looked, there was other people trying to find the same exact pillow. And they were also heartbroken when they found out the company stopped making it. Like, why? Why would you do that? Bastards. It wasn't a cheap pillow either. It was like a $65 pillow, I think. I tried to get a different one from them, and it wasn't the same. Like, their new version of it. It was horrible. But yeah, we still have that pillow. I think Russell uses it when he sleeps in here, and it's all lumpy from the bits of the foam coming apart. And I'm on what the fuck pillow are we on now? What the fuck's it called? I don't know. It's something that it comes with fluff. Like bits of foam or some shit.
It's shredded memory foam.
Shredded memory foam. Okay. And it has like a zipper, and then you can add to it or take away from it. It's the best I could do. It doesn't give me a migraine. There's still times I'm not happy with it, but
I think that's just you, hon. I don't think anything will make you 100% happy.
Yeah, because my neck is just fucked. But Don't hurt your neck, kids. You ever tried using the folded fluffy blanket as a pillow? Yeah, trust me, there's a pillow I came across. I was actually looking at that stupid square cube pillow for a little bit, and I was like, I don't know, but then the reviews on it weren't that great. But I can't tell you how much money I've spent on pillows trying to find one that would work for my neck. Had to be hundreds, absolutely hundreds. So now we're on this shredded memory foam thing. It's okay. Like, I can't use like a regular memory foam pillow. We tried it. Instant migraine. The second my head touched it, I was getting like shooting pains through the back of my head. I hurt my neck years ago. Probably, let's see, how I just turned what? I just turned 42. Probably 20 years ago. God, that feels so weird to say. When I worked at the craft store. I'd been doing a lot of lifting of stuff above my head that day. We got these stupid ass boxes of kids, I was merchandising kids crafts, of these kids sandals. They were lightweight foam. The boxes weren't necessarily heavy, but they were fucking awkward. They were as tall as I was, or like they came to my shoulders. I'm like we'll go 5'3" somewhere about there, and they like came up to my shoulders or my chest, and our stockroom was so fucked. I had to stack them in my aisle, and there was other people's shit that was in my aisle, and I had to move them above my head to get them out of the aisle, and I had to climb over shit, and then I was in the front entryway. And of course, my store manager was ridiculous, because you couldn't order a style or a specific size in these. They just got dumped on us. They're like, here. It was like mixed sizes, mixed different patterns on these. It was kind of like a Dollar Tree grab bag. They weren't $1, but it was like that kind of shit where, here, this is what you get. And, you know, you never knew what you were going to pull out of the box. Well, he wanted them hung up by style, size, and I'm like, you understand that's not gonna work, right? So I'm in the front entryway dicking around with this, trying to get this to where he's happy with it, because he's standing there. He's coming in and out, checking to see how it's going, if it's possible. I'm like, well, it might be possible right now, but as this sells down, it's gonna get all disheveled, and it's gonna look like shit, because it's a variety of stuff they sent. And, somebody at one of the front registers at customer service saw me standing in the vestibule trying to set up this display in the front entry door. There's blowers running in the front entryway. There was like air curtain machines to try to keep the heat in during winter and to keep the air conditioning in during summer, so it wasn't just all going out the door. There was our classroom coordinator standing there next to me, and I was just so pissed. I was just having a day, and he was driving me crazy over this shit, and I was so mad. I was so over everything. She's standing next to me trying to put up the display boards for this stuff, and the chick inside yells for me, and I was so mad. I like flipped my head to the side. I was like, what? Because I was being interrupted again. And I just wanted to get this the fuck done with, because I had other shit I had to do. I had to go order. And I was just mad. I just screamed, what? And I snapped my head to the side, and I yelled, ow. Because something popped in my neck. And I didn't remember that something had popped in my neck. It's kind of like when you bump into something and it's like a reflex ow. Or it doesn't continue to hurt, so you kind of forget about it. And I kind of forgot about it as the day went on. It was like a split-second ow. And, I was on truck duty the next day. They had a big-ass warehouse delivery coming in. And I think it was almost a whole tractor trailer. And like I said, our stockroom was fucked, so they couldn't use the loading dock to unload the tractor trailers. Because our stockroom was probably a fire hazard, where you could not pull a pallet down the aisle because there was that much shit back there. We really needed to get rid of shit. There was just shit upon shit upon shit, and it went to the ceiling. Like, it was a tall ceiling in there, and like, you needed like one of the big ass, I don't even know what height ladders they were. Maybe 15-foot ladders, maybe bigger than that. They went almost to the ceiling, and it was always kind of scary going back in there. Inventory sucked, because we had to hand count the stockroom. And, so they had to dump the pallets out front on the sidewalk. So I had to come in at 6 a.m. to help break down pallets, because they were bringing them in through the front doors, and they were dropping them in a horseshoe shape around the store, down the main aisles. And then they had a whole bunch of us come in extra to break down the pallets and drop the stuff off in the departments that it went to. And when I woke up that morning, my neck was real stiff. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, it hurt. And I'm like, what the hell is... First time it had hurt since I yelled ow. I'm like, what the hell's going on? And I thought, did I sleep wrong? Like, I don't understand what's happening. I get to work, and I'm thinking, oh, you know, I must have just a kink, it'll work itself out. It did not work itself out. I ended up filing workman's comp paperwork that day. I'm like, well, why didn't you say something when it happened? I'm like, because it happened for a split second, and then it didn't hurt anymore at the moment. And now today I'm waking up and I can't fucking, like, I could hardly move my head. By the time I got done helping break the pallets down, my head was on my shoulder. I could not lift my head up. I could not turn it. My head was stuck on my shoulder. I could not pick it up. I was like in tears. I was like, I can't. So they made me go to the workman's comp doctor. That dude was terrifying. They pull me in the back after an excruciating drive there. Like, my dad drove me because, you know, I couldn't fucking function. And, like, every time he stepped on the brakes and stepped on the gas, it was excruciating. We get there and he's looking at my neck. He's got his hands on my neck and he's feeling around, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, he like puts his one hand along the side of my neck, and next thing I know, he flips my head back up to where it belongs. Never did an x-ray or anything. And I started like fucking crying. I'm like, oh my god, what did you do? I'm like, holy shit. He's got, it was good, now keep it there. If I could have fucking kept it there, I wouldn't have fucking been here. And I'm just like, what the fuck? And then he like puts me out of work for 3 days and puts me on muscle relaxers. I'm like, that was his solution. Never actually said what was wrong. Just bloop. I'm like, oh my god. And now I still have trouble with my neck. Still, to this day. And I partially blame his half-assed handling of my neck. It scared the shit out of me. I'm like, that medical facility got shut down a while later, a couple years later. I was like, oh my god. It was horrible. But yeah, so ever since then I've had nothing but problems with my neck. Alright, so we've got our dark shade in. We need to get our... Oh, hey, I got a mirror. I don't know if this is going to translate well. So I got a mirror. It's in the shape of a flamingo. We saw it when we were in Walmart the other day. It was for $5. But it's an infinity mirror, so... Flamingos! I love it. Absolutely love it. So it actually glows like a pinky purple. It's got some smudges on it because I was touching it. Alright, I need our denim color. Where did the denim color go? I've got fluff hung everywhere. There it is. Okay. I need like our grayish denim blue. Yes, it lights up. It's great. I love it. Oh, and here's oh, Marvin. I need to tend to you, Marvin. You're wobbling. Marvin's kind of been through the war living on my desk. But I made Marvin. A little needle felted flamingo. I gave him a wiggle eye. That's some embroidery thread around his legs, but I made him like a little lawn flamingo. He's got the little metal stakes. I had a little half piece of like a styrofoam ball that I covered in green felt, and then I added some fluff for grass. He's all kinds of fuzzy and dust bunny covered, but so cute. I need to clean him up a little bit this week when I work on the flower arrangement. And I've got the glue gun out. What time is it? Okay, got a little bit more time here. I usually stab the mat so I don't lose this thing. Didn't that time. Okay, so I'm gonna try to space this out a little bit. Okay, I'm scraping the surface. I haven't punched in. You don't want to punch in and move to the side because you're going to snap your needle. I'm just surface scraping here. I must say this one is turning out better than I had hoped. Some of the ones come out a little better than others. I think it's the fact that it's the black background that's making it pop a bit more. But this looks great. Let me actually bump this forward just a little bit. So we're a little bit more to where, nope. Okay, it's probably about as close as we're gonna get to that. So I wanted to put our darker shade in underneath. Just give us a little bit of shadowing in there. Work on getting this guy in. So I'm hoping, so yeah, I might actually have to do an extra Planet Zoo stream. I was hoping to get a painting stream in this week, but I don't think that's gonna happen now. Or I could just try to catch up next week on Planet Zoo. It kind of depends. I might not need to. I don't know, maybe we will do a painting stream this week. I'm getting to where I need to replace some of my paint because it's starting to dry out. So we were investigating paint brands when we had to go and get the flower stuff for the stuff for my dad's Christmas arrangement. So, 'cause they don't have the brand that I was working with anymore. I hate giving Hobby Lobby money, but they're the place with the largest selection around me. Absolutely hate it. But they had bought from what I understand, and this might be incorrect, but from what I understand, they bought the label or the company that made the Anita's craft paints. That's what I was using. And when we were in there when my mom was getting the flower stems, because they've got the best flower stem selection around here. The Anita's brand is gone. I think there might have been 2 or 3 colors left. They're changing over that brand to a house label, I guess. There's a company I never heard before. Was it Crafter's Choice or something? Never heard of them. So it has to be a house label that they're starting, which is different from their Master's Touch house label for their fine art supplies. And their paint section was real rough. Their craft paint section. It was really kind of empty. It was picked over. The Delta Ceram coat, it looked like they were discontinuing, although I don't know if that was Delta or not. A lot of the other colors were missing. Walmart started carrying some of the folk art paint. Folk art brand. Along with Apple Barrel. And I originally started out using Apple Barrel. And they're okay. They're a little thin. They're okay. But I was trying to get something a little bit thicker, or at least more pigmented, more opaque for the dotty things that I got, because I got the dot tools. I don't think I showed you guys. You okay?
Yeah.
So we got the dotty tools. To do like the little dot mandala thingies. Because I've got some wood circles that would probably work pretty good with that. So I'm excited to try that out. So I was hoping to get like a different brand of paint that wasn't quite so glompy. But the stuff I have is glompy because it's old. But if it comes to it, I guess I can just go back to Apple Barrel. Or folk art. I did pick up a couple bottles of folk art brand paint just to try it. And I had to pick up a charcoal pencil so I could transfer some stencils and not have to worry about trace lines being in the way. Okay. Oh, that's a small guy. You know what? We're just gonna flip him up. Get him tapped into there. So this week, yeah, no, maybe we won't do an extra stream this week. I don't know. I wouldn't mind streaming me doing the flower arrangements that I have to do every so often, but my camera's too low. The camera would be in the flower arrangement, like I'd be knocking it everywhere. I wouldn't mind showing it, but I don't have a higher way to position the camera. Ow, right now. Because this is the size of the pot. So, I mean, it's a substantial pot. It's not a huge pot, but it's a good sized pot. So, I mean, this is a terracotta pot. We gessoed it, we sponged it, put a base coat of red on there, sponged it orange, because it's a fall arrangement that's going to go in there. Looks like some of the paint chipped already. Let's put some spray sealer on that. Now I have to put some rocks in the bottom of it to give it some weight so the wind doesn't blow it over. So I'm going to glue some rocks in the bottom and then put the styrofoam disc in, glue that in place, and then I have to start cutting apart the stuff that we got to shove in there and hope I have enough. I think I will. I actually managed to find some silicone finger protectors for the hot glue because I keep burning my fingers trying to get the arrangements stems down in there, because I'm putting the glue on the stem and then I'm sticking it into the styrofoam, and I'm kind of blind while I'm doing it because I can't see down in there because of all the leaves and stuff, and I'm constantly touching where I put the hot glue. So we picked up some silicone finger doodles, so hopefully the glue will hit the finger doodle and not my finger itself. Because glue gun burns suck so bad. Do not recommend at all. Avoid at all costs. Although half the time when Russell was working for the one plastic company, he'd come home with like tape wrapped around all of his fingers, because sometimes the stuff was really hot coming out of the machines. And they were doing that so they didn't have to touch the hot things. He worked with extruder machines for a while, and then towards the end of his time there he got shifted over to tool room because it was something that I think it was organizing tool room or helping move stuff around, and it was something that he could drop when he had to go, when his anxiety became too much. Because if he was out on a machine on the floor, then they had to get somebody to come over and replace his machine or shut his machine down. Because I don't think they wanted people working two different machines because of the timing. I think it was one person to one machine. But, no, I'd love to stream working on that, but right now the camera's sitting on top of my one monitor. I don't have a stand to put the camera on. Like, I don't have like an overhead rig that you see like a lot of YouTubers with. I don't have the room for one. This work area is pretty much my free work area around in here. If I manage to replace this desk, which is on my list of things to take care of, one of the desk options I was looking at had a sort of like a hutch or a couple of shelves on the one end of it. If I manage to get that, I might be able to get a clamp and rig something on there where I can have the camera up higher, where we can do larger things. But it's going to be some time before I'm going to have cash to replace this desk, so I think the desk I was looking at was, it was under 200, I think, or was it just over 200? I don't remember. 189 maybe? Somewhere around in there. But that's gonna be a while. We're on a tight budget. That's why we don't have quite all the bells and whistles. At some point I want to get stream avatars in here so that way everybody can have their own little flamingo running around on the screen. But that's gonna have to wait a little bit. until we can have the spare cash. The cash I've come up with lately was already earmarked for other stuff. That we needed to get. We had to get some more art supplies and stuff, so. Alright. That's not looking too bad. That's filling in pretty good there. So yeah, I think this week I'll have to get those dowel rods primed and painted. I might just go with black. Maybe this is colorful enough in here where we don't want a colored dowel rod on the top and bottom to take away from it. So we might just stick with black. It might be too distracting if we go with like a dark gray or dark brown. What do I hear? Oh, right, school's out. The fuck? Okay, I'm just knocking shit over. I gotta get used to school being back in session again. And the hearing of voices outside our house is not soundproof at all, as you can tell by the traffic noise that goes by. Sorry, nothing I can do about that. We live on a busy road. We live on like the main road through our small farming town, and it's very busy. At least we don't have as many tractor trailers whizzing by anymore, but the traffic that does go by is still a little obnoxious at times. But I gotta get used to school kids walking by after school's out again. A lot of them go to Sonic after school, it seems. And the Sonic in town is a couple doors down from our house. So I'll just randomly hear like voices talking outside, and I'm like, what the fuck? Is someone here? Oh, it's school kids. Right. It's that time of day. Right. Gotcha. Because it's so odd to hear someone outside talking. And they're like basically walking through our front yard because there's no sidewalk on our side of the street. And I don't know what the speed limit is out here, but I also don't want them getting hit by a car because they drifted a little too far over. The shoulder's not very big. Oh. That is why we have finger protectors on. I don't mind them walking through the front yard so much. I do get kind of pissy when they cut through our backyard, though. Though I think the only ones that cut through our backyard are the neighbors' kids. And we've kind of asked them to please stop doing that, especially when the mother-in-law and Russell's aunt are here because they have their big dog. Well, the aunt's big dog, and for a while she wasn't putting that dog on a lead. And so the one day they did it and the dog was out there, the dog like went charging up to them. Like an old ass Rottweiler that's half blind. And I'm like, you've got to put that dog on a lead. They're like, oh, she listens. And then the next time she does it, oh, she doesn't listen for shit. And I'm like, no, she doesn't. That's why she needs to be on a lead. Please. I don't care if you're standing right there. The dog needs to be on a lead. We are not going to be the ones in the wrong here if something happens. Absolutely not. We are doing everything by the book. Because the backyard's not fenced in, so... To save them from having to walk to the corner and then around, they've just been cutting through our yard and the neighbor's yard, whose yard's not fenced in either. Yeah, they walked through the backyard. Well, they would, like, lose stuff, like balls and stuff, over the fence, and we're like, okay, fine, you can come get it. So I guess they took that to mean they can just traipse through our yard whenever. The dog was nice. She's big. She's intimidating. She's half deaf and half blind. So the aunt was trying to tell me, oh, she wouldn't hurt you, but she's come charging up to me when I've gone out in the backyard to say hello. But she's very intimidating. She comes up to, like, my waist, her head. She's a very thick dog. And I didn't want somebody freaking out because a large husky dog was, like, running towards them. Husky as in build, not husky as in breed. But, she seems okay. But I don't know how she would react if, you know, her human wasn't right there or not. So, I don't know. I don't know this dog well. And you could have the nicest dog in the world and something will just, like, flip a switch in their brain all of a sudden and be like, something they don't like will flip them out. Like, I trust my dogs, my personal dogs, but only to a point. Because they are still dogs. I had a Pomeranian Sheltie mix, and that motherfucker was crazy. Although some of that might have been my parents' influence, but he would, like, fling himself at the windows trying to get the mailman. Whenever we got mail delivered, we had to replace mini blinds so many times because if we weren't paying attention and didn't grab him when the mail got delivered, he would throw himself at the picture window that was behind our couch, and he would just start, like, trying to bite and bark through the window to get the mail carrier. And there were just chunks of mini blinds the one day that just went flying through the air. I was like, oh my god. The dog loved me. He was my shadow. Hated my half-brother. I was holding him the one day, and my half-brother was trying to stare him down, and he wasn't having it, so I was holding him and he was growling. And then the brother gave up trying to stare the dog down and went to turn to walk away, and while I'm holding the dog lunged and tried to get him. He, like, put a hole in his brand new jacket or something. I'm like, well, that's what you get for fucking with the dog. The dog had a piece of fuzz in his mouth that I didn't want him to swallow. I tried to forcefully open his jaws to pull it out, and he lunged forward on my hand. He didn't break my skin, but we were in a standoff for a second where he knew he done fucked up, but he didn't want to give it up. And I did have teeth indents on my skin for a couple of hours, and I was like, boy, think about your life choices here. Because if you bite me to where I'm bleeding, we're gonna have a problem. Because I'm the person that you sleep with at night. So if I can't trust you while I'm sleeping not to come at me, you won't be staying here any longer. And, I mean, he was okay. He actually loved Russell. I was scared to death that when Russell moved in with us, that he was just gonna go after Russell so bad because of how he behaved around my brother. He loved Russell. There was never an altercation with him. Never even the hint of a growl. Nothing. I was like, really? The crazy ass dog's fine with... Okay. But, I didn't trust him. I trusted him to a point, but I knew what he was capable of. So, like, I didn't take him out on walks anymore because he was just too much of a handful. If he saw other people, he would just go nuts. He would, like, want to go after them. And it was just, he wouldn't settle down and just walk. So I was like, well, and I could only do so much on my own with that dog because my parents were negating anything I was trying to break him of. And I'm like, see, this is what happens when you tell the dog to get the mailman when the mailman comes. This is what we get, okay? You need to stop doing that. Now we've got a little tiny ankle biter that's gonna bite somebody's ankles. Like, can we please stop? But our two guys that we have now, they're just stubborn. They're a corgi mix with some kind of terrier, probably multiple terriers at this point. The only one that actually looked anything corgi-like or close to corgi in shape was their grandmother that they had at this farm. The mother didn't look like a corgi at all. I have no idea what the hell happened there. Zuzu has a little bit of the corgi marking on the face, but that's about it. He has the corgi howl that I experienced one day out of nowhere. Never heard it before. Scared the fucking shit out of me because it sounded like a tornado siren going off. And was I sitting here? Yeah, Russell and my mom went somewhere. So, like, the dogs were never really alone because my dad was always in the house because he had trouble getting around towards the end and it was too much trouble for him to go anywhere. So, he was usually here. So, the dogs had somebody here. Well, then after he passed away in February, Russell took my mom somewhere and I was here. I guess Zuzu didn't know I was in the house. And I'm sitting here, and all of a sudden I heard this high-pitched whine. And I had my headphones on, and I took them off. I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, why does this sound like a tornado siren? It sounds like a tornado siren that's stuck. And the town doesn't use tornado sirens anymore. They switched to a phone call system based on your address. But I'm sitting there, I'm like, are they testing something? I'm like, what the fuck is the noise? And it just went on and on and on. And then the pitch finally dipped down, took a break, and then started again. I was like, what the fuck? And then Momo ran out of my room. And I'm like, was that Zuzu? And I got up and went in the other room. And sure enough, he's sitting there on the bed, howling his head off because he was upset because he thought he was the only one in the house. I'm like, what is wrong with you? You know I'm home. I tell you when we're leaving. I didn't say that I was leaving. We tell you, if it's going to be a long store trip or a short store trip. You're not alone. This is why if they travel with us, someone has to be with them at all times. In the hotel room. Like, we can't leave them unattended because then they'll pull this shit and then somebody's going to call the front desk and bitch and then we're going to have to move. Or change hotels. And I'm not paying a fucking pet fee at a hotel to then, lose my night's money and a pet fee. Used to have a pit bull mix of some sort. She just ate grass all the time whenever she went outside. Yeah, Momo's like that. He wants grass. He loves grass. That's all he cares about. And it's been so hot and dry down here towards the end of the summer that half the grass is dead, so he's so sad when he goes out there because we had some really nice broadleaf grass that was growing out of some buckets near the front porch. That's like his favorite thing to do. That's all he wants to do is just go outside and munch on the grass. He loves the taste of it. That was his thing. That was his hobby. So he wasn't really into toys. Never really was. Just wants to sit outside in the sun, but we don't have the fenced-in yard. We were for a brief period of time letting them outside in the backyard off of their leashes because they were showing to us that they were listening and coming and stopping when we told them to stop and coming back to us. Until one day, it all changed. There was some people that lived on the other side of our neighbors, so it was our yard, our neighbor's yard, and then a side street, and then a house on the corner on the other side of the side street. That house on the corner on the other side of the side street had basset hounds. They had like a whole herd of them. They had like 3 or 4 of them at one point. And to get into their backyard, they had to go out their back door and across their driveway and then open their fence to get in their backyard. Like, there was no back door to backyard direct route. So they let the basset hounds out, and Zuzu saw them, and he wanted to go see them, and he took off across our yard, our neighbor's yard, and barely stopped at the edge of our neighbor's yard because he finally decided to listen to Russell. And I'm like, oh no. When Russell told me, I said, that's it? I was like, nope. They are on leash now. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Because the people whip around the corner of that side street. And he came close to almost getting hit. And I'm like, nope, 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 nope. Off-leash privileges have been revoked. I don't think so. So, I mean, I trust my dogs to a point, but I still, you know, they're still dogs, and there's gonna be that one time where they decide not to listen. Zuzu's a hilarious little spaz. Zuzu is a sassy motherfucker. Oh my god. He gives me so much shit. He is so bad. He is a jealous motherfucker. I'll go in my mom's room, because that's where he stays now. He stays with her. He'll come and visit me at like between 5:30 and maybe 7 in the morning when she gets up. He'll come and get back in bed with me. But that's the only time of day I might see him. The rest of the time he's in her room and I have to go find him. He lives in her room now. And if I go in there, and Momo's been visiting now too. And if I go in there to comb them and stuff and brush them, if I brush him and then switch to Momo, he sits there and barks at me and whines at me and gives me so much shit the entire time. If we go out somewhere and come back from the store, he gives me shit when we come back. He's like, where the fuck have you been? You know, it's like, if we cut their nails, oh my god, they got a bath the other day. They would not stop until Russell gave them a treat. Like, he couldn't even get them to take a breath. The amount of shit that they were giving him. Momo joined in on that one. Momo's not as vocal as Zuzu is. They had to run out. My mom had to get her haircut this morning, so Russell took her. And I kind of woke up when Russell came in. And I was thinking about getting up to go to the bathroom, and I wasn't sure what time it was. And then I thought I heard the front door slam. And I was laying there, I was like, did they leave? And I'm sitting there trying to figure it out, and then I heard Zuzu bark. Like, a full-on bark, not a whine, not a sassy grumble. It was full-on bark. And I was like, what the fuck? And then Momo took off. And I guess went to go check on his brother. And then, I didn't see either one of them, and I must have fell back asleep, because I remembered waking up when they came home. And I could hear Zuzu barking in the other room when they came home, so I guess Zuzu was getting upset, and Momo went in and laid down with him. Your cousin had like 12 beagles or something, and it's really funny because we're neighbors, because I got a bunch of cars and junk out in the yard, and he has dogs howling all the time, so it's a real redneck corner. Oh, I can just imagine the noise. Oh my goodness. Wow. Yeah, we had 2 rough coat collies at one point when we lived in New Jersey, and my dad has St. Bernard. I can't do the big dogs anymore. The one collie had some kind of neurological disorder that we didn't know about when we got him. We're not sure if he ended up like developing a brain tumor or what, but when he started to get bigger, it was to the point where he would just kind of like stand in the corner and he wouldn't move out of the corner, and he'd like try to snap at you if you tried to like move him out of the corner. I'm like, dude, move. Then other times he was fine. he would go down the back steps fine to go outside. And then most of the time he came back up the steps fine, but then there'd be like that one time out of 6 where he acted like he didn't know what steps were. Like he had never gone up them before. And he would just like lay in one spot in the yard. It was pouring rain the one day. And he would not come in. And he was laying in the mud. And I'm like, you have to come in. It's downpouring. And he was acting like he didn't know how to come up the steps. And we're like, what is the problem? We had to get a towel and put it under him. And it took 2 of us to kind of like step walk him with the towel up the steps. And then when we got to one step before the top, then he just kind of like hopped in like, okay. And we're like, what the fuck? But we had mentioned this to the vet that we were seeing at the time. And they were like, no, that's funny. And I'm like, okay. They weren't concerned. And we mentioned this multiple visits. They're like, oh, well, you know, dogs will be dogs. And they thought he was just being quirky. And then one night we had to take him to the emergency vet at like 3 o'clock in the morning because he started howling and like shaking on the floor, and we didn't know what the fuck his problem was. And we got him to the vet, to the emergency vet, no less. And so big bucks. And before they could even really give us a definitive answer on what was going on, he passed away. And we're like, what the hell? He was having some kind of seizure or something. And they're like, yeah. So we were telling them what had been going on with him. And they're like, it sounds like he had a brain tumor. And, you know, when he couldn't see, or like he's standing in the corner, like, and he didn't want to move out of it, sometimes like they'll have a seizure and then they go temporarily blind, and he probably couldn't see. And we're like, really? You're the first person that even mentioned that this was a possibility of something going on. And they're like, yeah. So we never did really fully find out what his problem was. But after that, and then the St. Bernard, suddenly passing, that was a big dog. You don't think about it until you have a medical emergency with them and you're a small person and you can't lift very much heavy stuff. That dog was like 175 pounds, almost 200. And he was a hefty guy. So ever since those two, Russell and I are like, no big dogs. So we have dogs that we can pick up. So these guys that we have now are like 20 pounds. No, Momo's probably like 15, 18. Zuzu's about 20, 22. But they're tiny. They're like, Momo's head comes up to my knee, I think. They're short guys. So we're gonna shave the top of our pad here. Try to clean up some of that fuzz that got embedded. And we're pulling off a lot of blue, but there's a lot of green in there too. This is how the video on this one said to clean it if you get any fluff stuck in there, so who am I to argue? I was gonna ask a question. When will there be... Okay, I have a schedule listed on one of the tabs on here. And there should be a panel at the bottom of the video that also shows my schedule. Okay, I do have the Saturday one on there. So, Friday afternoon, I don't have the Saturday evening one though. Friday afternoon, we do the Solo Planet Zoo, where I'm doing a zoo by myself. And, it's me using the random wheel where I pick what I'm gonna build. Saturday afternoon is when I work on the challenge zoo that's against the husband, where we're under set building rules and restrictions. And Saturday evening is when the husband works on his challenge zoo the weeks that he's up to streaming. He's not always up to streaming because of his medical issues, but when he's able to, he does. So if I have to cancel, I do put on Twitter that if a stream's not going to happen, it's not going to happen. when I'm able to. So, Friday afternoon, Saturday morning, and Saturday evening are Planet Zoo times. Sunday and Monday are art times, and right now Thursday is Coral Island. I don't have any streams scheduled on Tuesday or Wednesday. Wednesday, from time to time, I might do a bonus stream, or a Monday night I might do a bonus stream, but it's not scheduled because it's spur of the moment when I decide to do an extra stream. I have to be up to it. I don't plan those ahead of time because I usually use those 2 days off from streaming to catch up on other stuff that needs to be done around the house or other projects I'm in the middle of that need to get done. So that's the schedule. There should be the schedule down in the panel. The only thing I haven't added to the panel is the Saturday night stream. I have to go back and do that. I forgot to do that. But yeah, so this is where we're at so far. We're working on this wave. I think we might have maybe one more session, maybe a session and a half to go on this one. So this coming weekend we'll probably be finishing up this guy. So we just have to finish up our water and then finish up our hill here. But I'm like where we're at right now with this. I might try to darken up this green a little bit. Seems a little bright on the camera, but I don't know. I have to think about it. It might be alright. I might leave it alone. I have a slightly darker green I might just add in, just mix it in just a little bit here and there. I'm probably going to use the darker green on this section in here. But yeah, so we're almost done this guy. And if we end up only needing to do a half session to fully finish him on next Monday, then we'll do another planning stream where we'll try to start to sketch out the tutorial episode 9. What is 9? What's coming up? Hold on. So we'll definitely be working on this next Sunday. I don't know if we'll need to go into Monday with it, but we might. So next one is the Old Mill. That's season 3, episode 9. What is this? Is this the water wheel? Oh, hold on. I understand the ads, but I'm not getting money from that ad, so hold on, let me see. Can I see the finished one? No. I see the pause. Okay, let me bring that back up. Okay, so yeah, that is okay. So that one's a white background. Lots of greens and ochres again. Woodsy. We got a river. And we do have a water wheel in that one. Okay. So lots of our brown and green tones again. Okay. I don't know how I feel about that one, but we'll give it a try. I don't know how I'm gonna pull that off. Though I do have some circle stencils now, though I don't know if I have the right stencil for that, though. We might just have to eyeball that. Alright. Well, that's what we've got coming up. That's the one that we're going to work on after this one. So we'll probably Monday start our colored pencil sketch of that one. Just to kind of work it out in our heads. Try to get a feel of placement and colors for what I have available. I would think you would always need green and brown for Bob Ross. Yeah, I know, right? Like take stock in green and browns and like that mustard yellow color. I don't know if we're gonna do campfire yet. This one I have been on the fence about. I originally said we weren't gonna do it. No! I don't. No ads, please. This is not my ad. I get no money from this ad. This is for his YouTube channel, and I'm not going to begrudge him the ad money, but I just kind of... This season, they were very about the 3/4 view, on these videos, so it's hard to get a head-on shot of what the fuck it looks like. So this is the one where it looks like the world's on fire. I don't know. If I do this one, it's gonna end up looking quite a bit different than his. Because I only have 2 shades of red and 1 shade of orange. So, I don't know if I'm going to be able to pull this one off with the supplies I have. We could try it? Maybe? Don't know. I'm really scared of this one, to be perfectly honest. This is the infamous one where he put the cowboy against the tree. We would definitely have to do a pre-sketch on that one. This one intimidates me a lot because it's so monotone. Like, so limited color palette. Paint, you can get away with it because, you know, you can get the shading, you can get multiple shades, but and he uses that to his advantage, but we only have so many shades to work with here. It's hard to find multiple shades of red in the tones that I would need to pull this off. Because, you know, it's red yarn, so not that many people need that many different shades of red yarn. There's usually like Christmas red, or, you know, like a berry red and then like a bright red. And I'm like, okay, you might be able to find a wine or a burgundy, but those are more towards the purple family. So it's gonna be tough. And it's not gonna look the same at all if we do that one. I still haven't decided yet. So we're getting near the end. So we have 9. That one's 10. There's 13 in this one because Steve did number 13. 11's another building. He did a lot of buildings in this one, like where the building was center stage. He did that covered bridge, that watermill that's going to be coming up on the next one that we're going to start. He's got a rustic barn where that seems like it's the main focal point. Now, number 12 looks a lot like 7. Are you trying to do a lot of his art? We've followed along with a lot of his art. I've done 2 different seasons where we were painting along with him. I try to follow along with some of his stuff, just to kind of work on my skill set and see what we can do. Because, you know, a lot of, like, the YouTubers and stuff were following along painting with him, using different gimmicks of being blindfolded, or listening to it at double speed, or listening to it in just red hues so that they had to guess what color they were grabbing on their palettes. I've seen somebody try to follow along using frosting. You know, so I was like, well, let's follow along doing needle felting, because I've seen nobody do that. If they're out there, I didn't come across them. So, that's what we're doing. So what would be really cool? I actually have some of his paints, because we did do some of them in the oils. The oils are a little messy, though. They take forever to dry with all the pets we have. Try making his art into exhibits on Planet Zoo. I wonder if that would even be possible.
I mean, you probably have to use a lot of shapes and stuff.
I mean, it wouldn't be the same colors.
Unless you used a art program and a color picker to find the hex code ahead of time.
No, like, so if you tried to do the terrain, like his mountains and stuff, if you tried to do the terrain tools with it, you wouldn't be able to do some of the mountain colors that he does?
I assume you've been making out of shapes on a flat surface.
Oh, okay.
I don't think you could make actual terrain that works for it. Oh, I suppose you could try.
I mean, you could, but it would be whatever terrain the biome's in, like the colors. I mean, I guess you could try to flat do it with art shapes, but it would be very it'd be very blocky. But if you're using like I mean like the background, if you tried to do like the mountains or stuff, or you know, you would just go with whatever color the terrain's gonna be, because you could probably build like the covered bridge thingy. That wouldn't be that hard. Well, I mean, it would be fiddly, but it would be doable. They do have a water wheel set in there. Something to think about. I wonder if you could do that in the diorama thingy. I haven't messed with the diorama program that they've got in there, that new feature that came in. Something to think about. I'll have to mull that over. Okay, so it doesn't look exactly the same. So I thought this looked pretty close to 7, but no, it's just he used the same colors on the mountain as he did in 7. Which means I'm gonna have a purple that looks gray again, unless I put something pink on the screen because of the way this camera sees the color purple. So mad it grayed that purple out. Alright, well, I need to go get dinner going. I thank you guys for hanging out with me this afternoon. I do appreciate it. It was lovely chatting with all of you. And we made some progress today. I'm happy with where we're sitting. I think we're looking pretty decent here. So the next scheduled stream is going to be on Thursday, and we're going to go back to Coral Island. I'm enjoying that quite a bit. I'm hoping that they get some of the bugs sorted. I haven't had any of the crashy bugs in there like some people have. Unless I just haven't had a point that's triggering it yet, but maybe they'll get that fixed soon. The greenhouse is being kind of fussy with the trees, though. That is a problem I am experiencing. But maybe by the time we go on Thursday, they'll have some solutions in place, because I know it's not just me by looking at the discussion forums on Steam. Definitely not just me. Some people are not quite so patient. I'm like, guys, it's early access. What do you want? It's not an official release. But yeah, thank you guys for hanging out with me. I will see you on Thursday. Enjoy your week, and until next time, have a good one.